Alright guys, what is going on? Oink here, and today is Thursday, which means seasonal day, and we have got ourselves some 400 performance points World Compact Car Race. This is for small cars basically, and obviously within 400 performance points. I'll just go over the regulations and the tracks and which car I use, and then we'll get into each race. So obviously performance points maximum, as I said, 400, tyres maximum as a comfort soft, and total length maximum of 4,200 millimeters or 4.2 meters, 420 centimeters. However you want to do it. I don't know what it is in inches. Maybe you American people use inches. I don't know. We've got a Autumn Mini, Rome, Reverse, Laguna Seca, Nürburgring, and an Eiffel Custom. The car I've gone with is the obviously premium Golf Mark 4 GTI 2001. This comes stock at I think 399 performance points, or maybe a little bit less. Yeah, a little bit less actually, that's right, because I got the turbo on there. Brake balance you can see set 7 and 3, put it more towards the front. Front suspension dropped to 14, rear is -8. Spring rate at the back 5.9, 4.8 on the front. Dampers are 5 and 3, and then 3 and 5 on extension and compression. And anti-roll bars are 2 and 3. I've got a heavy camber on the front, 2.5, small camber on the back at 1.0, and a fairly heavy inward toe, or outward toe I should say, -0.3. And the wheels at the back are perfectly in line. Upgraded all of my clutch and flywheel, and got the LSD set on the front at 10, 30 and 5. As I said, it doesn't. I was thinking of a different car, which I did give a try, but this one doesn't come at 400. I've gone with the high range turbo, and then basically a few things just to get it up to 400 from there, which was I think the air filter. Took that up to like 401, and then just drop it down by a point, and as it if it gains in power throughout the races, again just tone it down each time. The prize for this event is your normal paints and things per race, and a level 0 ticket. These are basically beginner cars, the kind of cars that you'd buy when you first get the game, so it has to be pretty bad to be level 0. I got a standard roadster there, as you can see, so not the best. We'll get started then. This is the Autumn Ring mini circuit. This was the first race. Well, in general, these events were fairly easy. The car with this setup performs pretty nicely, even on the comforts. Yeah, it's quite a aggressive setup, I guess. It corners pretty nicely, but probably has less decent sort of top speed abilities. Yeah, just make sure you don't go into the grass and spin out, and you've basically won this one. It really isn't that hard. It was pretty choppy, my laps. I was hitting sort of 45s, 46s, and I'm sure you could go much faster than that. Yeah, I basically won with a reasonable amount of time. You can see here coming into second on lap 7 out of 8. Watch out for those guys there, start lapping people, so just be wary that isn't first place. And I take first place halfway round the last lap there, and he gets a bit crazy as I go for the overtake on the right hand side, tries to force me off the track there, but I get the win halfway round, nice and plenty of time. We'll move straight on to Rome circuit. Now this one is even easier, I found. I came in with like a lap, 2 laps to spare maybe, so if you're looking for some credits or a bit of XP boost, try reducing your performance points on this, and you should be able to get some really nice credit intake for this particular one. Yeah, I mean, Rome circuits, there's not much to say about it. Again, even if your lines aren't the best, you're just going to bounce off the walls. Basically, it's not it's not the end of the world if you're not the best driver on this track. It's pretty forgiving because it's a pretty tight circuit. Just try and keep your overall top speed as high as you can. Like for example, through that corner, try and just dip the brakes, let the suspension do the work. Coming through here, try and aim for the apex on the white bit there. You can see the white line on the inside. If you go for that, it's kind of cambered just a little bit on the outside there, so you can really sort of have much more potential on your top speed coming around that way. If you're wondering about assists, I say this every week, so I guess if anyone is new here, assists wise, always use everything off, ABS set at 1. Transmission, by the way, if you're wondering about transmission, most of the time I set my transmission just to be the highest top speed at the longest straight. So at the longest straight, whatever the top speed I'm reaching after that amount of time, that's what I'll set my transmission at. So I never remember exactly what it's going to be for each race, so apologies for that, but you can pretty much figure it out with a bit of trial and error and just a bit of guesswork, and it's really not that difficult. Laguna Seca, of course, this one there's lots of sand all over the place, so just be a little bit careful not to go too fast around the corner and end up in the sand. But to be honest, again, the cars are fairly slow. The competition is, fairly slow. You can see coming into third after 2.5 laps. Obviously on the corkscrew, watch out not to overcook it. The problem with this is as it flattens out, if you haven't already slowed down enough, you're going to struggle to brake in time and you'll end up facing the wall, and that's a really sticky situation to get out of. So just make sure you're taking it nice and easy. You can see there, end of lap 3 I take first place. So that's two laps of plain sailing, so another possible for some credit and XP ramping there with some lower performance points. Get the win, lapping about 48s and 47s on that one. Then we got one big lap of the 24-hour Nürburgring. This is always good fun. There's something about this track. It's just so enjoyable to drive. Take me a long time to sort of do all the corners and stuff, so I'm going to show you just replays of where I overtook the different cars, so you guys can get a reference point. As you can see here, already in 10th place after just 2-3 corners there. Again, this car handles really nicely for this track. That kind of aggressive cornering setup that I've gone with. It suits well for this. Obviously you've got the long straights and a few of these longer, faster sections, but for the technical areas this car really does handle beautifully. Lots of control. Again, it's got the front wheel drive, so you shouldn't be having any problems spinning out. Again, this is really great. If you're a little less confident, by all means you could have used a rear wheel drive of some sort maybe, but with these forward wheel drives, it's pretty easy. You can see those guys there. I know you're supposed to overtake on the right on this track, but they were on the outside and I was going like twice as fast as them, and they just like drove exactly into where I was about to make the overtake. So I say that was their fault for driving me off the track, not my fault. You can see taking third after the long back straight there, the sort of fast-paced section. Coming into the final, the sort of final technical area here. First and second have sort of gathered up there. You see I get the Mini. I go for the overtake on the straight, but they are pretty fast on the straight, and he's got the inside line, so I concede the position initially, but they're pretty slow on the corners as usual. So then I accelerate up the inside, he takes it way too wide, and I move into first place with plenty of time to go. Nearly overcook it on that last corner there, but I had miles of space behind me, so even if you mess up on that really sort of fast-paced, heavy braking, then you should be absolutely fine to get the win for Nürburgring. So finally we move on to our last track, the Eiffel. This is a karting custom track. It's quite a long track. It's quite nice. I actually enjoyed this one. They've got this kind of left right hairpins here, which was a nice little area. This was probably the toughest of them all. This is the only one I didn't do on my first try, and that's probably because on my first try I was kind of not expecting it to be as hard, as well, just as easy as the rest of them, so I wasn't really focusing that much, and so I had a bit of a sloppy lap. There's a few areas to watch out for. This, back straight, make sure you're turning in really early for that one, because you'll pick up understeer at the very sort of crest of the hill, and just if you turn in early you should make it nicely there. Maybe just brake, put into fourth, and then drop heavy braking late down so you can get that nice apex coming in. With all of these little sort of chicane sections, make sure you're hitting the apexes all the time. Again, like I said, make sure you try and turn in as early as possible and hit those apexes. You can even overrun the grass a little bit, it doesn't slow you down too much. And if you need to make an apex, excuse me by the way, if you need to make an apex or overtake someone, don't be afraid to use a bit of grass if you need to. Anyway, take first place nearing the end of the last lap, and that concludes this week's seasonals. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.